Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Bridge Podcast. We're here to join you tonight with my co-host, Chef Irie, and we have a guest panelist tonight. Can you introduce yourself to the people, brother?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say, hey man, that's a dope intro, man. I thought we was just, having a conversation, man. I'm a little nervous now, man. It's official now. I'm just on the couch. It was like, we got real intros. Okay, I see what's going on. No, but on a more serious note, my name is Ashley Toussaint. I hold many titles. I'm currently a Little Haiti resident, born and raised in Miami, Florida. Business owner. I own an immigration office in Little Haiti as well. I'm of Haitian descent, Haitian American. I'm also a dean of students at KIT Miami Schools. I'm an educator, business owner, and a member of Black Men Build.
That's a great organization. I have
Yeah,
heard.
man, those guys are doing phenomenal things over there, man. If you haven't heard and you ain't on it, you need to get up on it.
Okay, so tonight we gonna jump in. Oh well, I'm gonna let you spin off and do your thing, Irie.
My thing.
Yeah, introduce yourself, my brother.
What's
You know
up,
the
everybody? Chef Irie's in the house, man. It's all good. Good to be here once again there for the new week, the new Tuesday. I ain't had no tacos today, but that's all right. I'm missing the sound. It's the intro, sets you square immediately, man. It's like, oh yeah, we're ready to go. We about official business now.
Yeah. Charge my laptop.
Let the man know how many platforms we are broadcasting on there, Mr. Magic Man.
Okay, tonight as usual we're on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Since Twitter can't get their act together, they don't know what they want to do. They dropped Periscope, and now they don't know how they want to use their live streaming platform.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we're ready to go. We're gonna jump on in here and talk about our Caribbean brother country, Haiti, and what's going on over there. It's an island that's in the midst of crisis. So we want to start off the talk conversation. Well, people know around the world. You have seen that Haiti has just suffered from an earthquake magnitude. What it was
7.2.
7.2 earthquake in the southern part of Haiti, south of Port-au-Prince, and they're suffering. And right now there is no, I would say, no real leadership in the country right now because their president was assassinated. So now they're trying to find their way, and they need a helping hand, not from other nations, but from people of the diaspora, I would say.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start off with how do y'all feel what's going on with Haiti right now?
Well, I'm assuming Mr. Ashley is either of Haitian descent or was born there on the rock. So I think he should take center stage right now.
Thank you.
Just real quickly, can you give me some tips on how to grow that beard out? Okay, I'm just
Man, I'm gonna talk about the beard, and then I'm gonna get to the rock. All right. Had a barber in Harlem, young lady. I had a little stubble. She said you got to activate it. You got to brush it. You got to irritate got to brush it. Even when it's not there, brush it. Irritate it. Exfoliate it.
I heard it for a while, but
yeah. But what it does is it activates the follicles, and that's how it started growing out. I used to have. I'm the only person in my family with a full beard. Everybody else got the little stubble stuff, the little the billy goat stuff. Yeah.
So let's keep brushing it, huh?
Yeah, let's keep brushing it, man. Where the skin?
Yeah, I got frustrated. I was like, screw this shit, man.
No, you just gotta stimulate it.
Cut it off.
You just gotta stimulate it. Either that, or I just got lucky because nobody else in my family got a beard. Maybe I'm adopted.
Well, 6 months from now, I see if it works.
All right, I'll check in with you. if I get
No,
invited back.
I'll say it does work because I'm the only other person in my family that has a real beard, not
Mm-hmm.
no Apache chief, patch here, patch there,
Where that,
and
where
and
that,
I
where
and I
that.
and I used to do the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
take my brush and brush it,
Mm-hmm.
and then it
Pretend.
does and it does activate it.
Mm-hmm.
So now
Yeah.
we're gonna let Ash go into the rock.
Yes. I mean, as being Haitian American, growing up, one of the first images I ever saw growing up was the Haitian flag and this big old mural of all the Haitian presidents from, going back to Dessalines to, I think, Aristide at the time. But what's the answer? There's no silver bullet to what's going on in Haiti. But I do agree in one instance that the diaspora is very instrumental in supporting Haiti. One of the things that a lot of people may not know outside of diaspora is one of the controversial things that the president had put forward before he was assassinated. He had put a referendum that Haitian Americans from the diaspora who were born in Haiti, because show that they were born in Haiti, would be able to vote or have some type of voting power on the island. That was very controversial for a lot of different reasons. So, but he understood the importance. A lot of Haitians understand the importance of the diaspora. I believe the diaspora is responsible for nearly $1 billion in remittance each year to Haiti. So that means, growing up, the same way we pay FP&L bills and we pay water bills here, we send the money back home all the time. And that's one of the most important parts of the Haitian economy, the diaspora. But politically, the diaspora has not really had like a direct impact. In times of I say tragedy like this and natural disasters, the diaspora is kind of pushed aside, and what ends up taking precedent is these big world organizations like USAID and Red Cross and other notable, I'm gonna say notable organizations. But what we saw in 2010 with the other earthquake is that those monies was grossly mismanaged. So I think it is time for the diaspora to really step up and collectively come together with folks on the island and find a way that we can get the supplies from here from point A to point Z. But with the infrastructure that has not been really rebuilt and kept up, with the mass corruption going on the island, with the lack of institutions and oversight and leadership, is very challenging for someone who live in the U.S. to send, especially during the time of a natural disaster, to send supplies and to send donations and get there with fidelity. That's one of the biggest things. So, even my approach as I'm working with organizations, I'm only going to work with organizations that I have a personal relationship with and trust. I'm not going to blindly support any organization, Haitian American or non-Haitian, that I don't have a relationship with, because unfortunately, what's been going on with these disasters is that people have taken advantage of the Haitian people's misery and have made a lot of money and have made promises but have not delivered. So, as a member of the diaspora, and anybody who called themselves a friend of the Rock or a friend of Haiti, do your research, do your homework, make sure the people that you are in alignment with are doing things with fidelity and doing things with integrity. Because when that money starts rolling in, some people's eyes get very big. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be very, very vigilant of that, and we got to be responsible for that. We can't just give to the first organization that shows up on our social media.
Now I'm gonna ask you this because as a growing up when I was younger, we never learned that Haiti fought and got their freedom before anybody else. So I
Hmm.
would ask you, how did Haiti get to the point that they're at now, be it from colonization?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things. There's a lot of different variables, but I think the biggest thing was timing. I think they just got their independence too early. When you look at the time period that they got their independence, the only other liberated country in the Western Hemisphere, because everybody else was colonized at that time. The whole South America was colonized. Central America, the Caribbean was colonized. Even the U.S. was a colony at once. The only liberated country at that time was the U.S., which the Haitians had actually helped get independence. So, and then a big part of the society during that time was slavery. A big part of that colonization process was slavery, and so the Haitians represented the antithesis, the exact opposite of what the New World wanted. The New World was successful off the backs of indigenous people. And so now you have these black folks, these indigenous Africans that were brought here to be a labor force, being the leadership. That just didn't fit in the mold. It don't fit now, to be honest, but it definitely didn't fit back then. So the timing of it really, really, I think, hurt the Haitian cause. Another thing that really hurt Haiti was there was still a level of colorism and classism on the island that we still see today. We had a class of half French, half African Haitians, who was still part of kind of close to the ruling class, and they got a good significant part of the power. And then the darker skinned, more African featured Haitians did not get the same privilege, the same education, did not get the same wealth. So it created a class system and a color system on the island. So that has been an underlying colorism clash that happens within Haitian society that maybe a lot of other cultures are not aware of. I'm just being honest, that's another division amongst us. And then just like just what happens in typical when you try to mimic a culture or you try to mimic a system that's not really true to you. Like most of the people in Haiti were from West African nations that came from kingdoms, and they had their own way of ruling, but they are trying to fit that system into this foreign democratic, system, which was really foreign to them, and they still have struggled with that. So you had all those different layers that was contradicting the people at the time, and you're still seeing a lot of that today.
Well, I have this one personal belief too. When I say when Haiti had their revolution and got their freedom, America looked at them and said, "We cannot let this nation go forth. We have to pigeonhole them somehow, so
Mm-hmm.
they would not be an inspiration to the slaves we have over here." And I
Mm-hmm.
think that held true for the hundreds of years that Haiti was a nation that they are today. That they're still suffering from what America did in helping hold the nation back.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you all have been to Savannah, but there's a memorial for they were French at that time because they were still technically under French rule. But the French sent a black naval force to Savannah to help secure the southern border of the colonies at the time in Savannah, Georgia. It was an all black fleet, and if you've been to Savannah, the river goes right there through the wharf. And at that time, that would have those slaves. It would have been slaves at the docks. It would have been slaves in the plantation, seeing this ship with black men, free men. You know what I'm saying? Uh, they saw that already. You know what I'm saying? And the U.S. asked for that help. So it's like the U.S. want best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
They want us to
Hmm.
help them. You know,
still,
but they want us to turn around and leave and turn our backs and not try to liberate our own people. It's contradicting. So yeah, like Chef Ivory said, still right. They want LeBron to play, right? But they don't want him to speak up
shut
about
up
things
and dribble.
outside of basketball. So it's that
Yeah.
same mentality.
Well,
Okay. I,
one of the things that irks me, and it started to irk me after my first trip to Haiti several years ago, and up until today, I heard it today, even though they added something after they made that statement. And the statement is when they do media, it's always either a lead-off statement or is in the lead-off statement where they say, Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And ever since when I went to Haiti, and I was like, why do they keep
Mm-hmm.
harping on that in the media? And there are so many different things that are happening that happen, in Haiti, all across the whole entire island. And yes, has its issues, has its problems. Um, but every time I heard it from the media, it's almost as if they wanted the rest of the world not to know everything else about Haiti, and they would say that. And it's like it messes with the mind. When you say something over and over and over, that's the one thing that you believe all the time, and you figure because when these things happen, earthquake, the tragedies, you got storm coming through, but is worried about landslides, so problems on top of problems now. You're thinking the whole entire island, is just abject poverty. And it's like, okay, what are people going to do? So that's one. And then, so now that these things are happening, and I see people talking about, yes, yes, we all need to pray for Haiti. We all need to pray for everything. But we need people, those same people, to jump in and do, like you said, do your research. The people of Haiti and the people of the diaspora here have continuously spoken out about how funding should, be meted out, where those things go, who we need to pay attention to, who we need to not pay attention to, who we should not be sending funding to or through, because of what has happened in the past. Okay. So for everybody that's out there, posting up on social media, Haiti with the fist, I haven't posted anything. The only thing that you said something earlier where you said, and I'm going to paraphrase, that the majority is capitalizing on the fact that Haiti is going through these things, and the people who are capitalizing are not using that capital to benefit the people. So they're things are happening, they're capitalizing, but they're not giving back to benefit the people,
Mm-hmm.
which in itself is just
And
heinous.
and and I'll be honest, like in some cases, the people have, like for me, I had so many people blow me up because I'm in the Haitian community. My family had a legacy for helping people, but I don't have the capacity to collect anything, right?
Hmm.
I don't have people like Ashley. Where can I donate? Ashley, where can I contribute? And I'm just like, I'm gonna do my research and then I'll send you and then I'll let you know. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people would be honored and try to take it on themselves and they get stuck. I
Right.
might, there's some brothers there is somebody that is going to, out of kindness of their heart, they're going to like get a bin and start a collection. And then they're like, oh shit, how do I get, excuse me if we can't curse on this show, but they
Yes, we
might say,
can.
okay,
Yes,
they
you
might
can.
say, oh
Yes, you
shit,
can, Ashley. Yes, you
I
can.
got, that's my first day of school. I don't want to get in trouble. Um, they, they might have they might collect 500 pounds worth of, clothing. What? But like, okay, what's the next step? Do I put it on a plane or do I put it on a boat? Okay. Do I know anybody that owns a boat or a ship? How much is it going to cost? Then they put money out their own pocket. Okay, cool. Kind of see your heart. How often is this ship leaving? The ship don't leave for another month. So now things are getting spoiled. And it's a lot of moving steps that people
Right.
out the kindness of their heart, they don't understand the level of networking and the level of connectivity you need to have. Then when it gets to Haiti, is there a contact person at the docks at the port that's gonna do the inventory and make sure it gets to the actual people? If you don't have someone at every step of the way, it's not like the US where you go to the post office, And you don't need to know the postal driver. You don't need to know who's flying the plane. You don't need to know driving. It's gonna get there. That's America. And Haiti things are not like that.
Yeah.
So, and some people are at the kindness of their heart trying, but even they still mismanaging. That's what I'm
Mm.
saying. You got to be patient. And then there's people who purposely have the infrastructures in place and they're going to collect their money at one part of it. If they don't collect it with the donations, they're going to collect it when they get on the ground in Haiti, or they're going to collect it once it hits their bank account. There's some people that's just really waiting for that. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
So let me ask you something, Ashley. Yeah,
Hmm.
as a Haitian American, you were born here, right?
Yes.
All right. So I'm from the Caribbean too. I'm from Jamaica,
Hmm.
and within that whole diaspora, the Caribbean diaspora, we're just in the Caribbean right now.
Yes.
Um, as long as I've known myself, and and as an adult, you know, talking to other people about stuff on politics and all that good stuff, corruption has been, you know, all through, the Caribbean. So if you were to say one or two things, how do you think that could change, not just in Haiti, but even throughout the rest of the Caribbean? What do Caribbean people in the diaspora, what do Haitian people do? I mean, everybody talks a good game,
Hmm.
running for position, but as
Yeah.
we all know, it's like, it's just about it's all about getting your foot in the door
Hmm.
to do
Hmm.
what you would like to do, because it all, some people are for the people, some people are
Hmm.
kind of for the people,
Hmm.
and some people are not really for the people.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's like a mindset, you know. I mean, I work in education, and one of the mindsets that Black people have been told in America is that you have to leave the hood to be somebody. We've never been told to rebuild the hood, and we've never been told to take care of our communities. We was told that if you want to be successful, move to Miramar. You know what I'm saying? Move to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? When they was building all them houses out there. Now they got all the meth houses over there now, but that's another story. Um, but same thing with the diaspora, right? We've been told as the diaspora to leave and never come back. And some of them did want to come back, right? But there's no real blueprint. There's no real blueprint. People just try and do what they can. We got to be intentional and we got to be really purposeful, right? So now this next my generation, our generation, we need to make sure we have people in the shipping industry. We need to make sure we have people in the banking industry. We need to make sure we have people in the legal industry. We need to make sure we have people in roads, and we need to make sure we have people because we got the money. It's just that like if I'm spending all my money trying to move to the suburbs, I'm trying to send all my money. If I'm spending all my money sending my children to these elite schools that we really can't afford, we kind of got to shift our resources. So now we're leaving it. Now it's like we want the things to happen, but we don't want to build it. You know what I'm saying? Like I know in Jamaica, the Chinese are there building the roads. You know what I'm saying?
taking over
They
every
build it.
damn thing.
Jamaica should be building the roads, but we're not. They're not. You trying to say Jamaicans can't build the roads? They can. It's just not.
They can.
It's not. It's not on our mindset. You know what I'm saying? Haitians too. You know, the Koreans own the one of the big, I think Natcom or something like that. One of our telecommunication companies. I know a lot of smart Haitian brothers, but we're thinking about working for those companies instead of creating those companies. But then there's a lot of systematic stuff that's against us too, right? So I'm not gonna act like it's not systematic stuff against us, but we gotta be able to carry the load in every element. If we pass it on to anybody else, we're leaving it up to chance. And we just don't move in my experience, you know what I'm saying?
That's
Not
a
enough
fact.
of us move in that capacity to where we want to be in every element of it. We just leave it up to people and see what happens. And we can't
Hmm.
Well,
leave it up to chance anymore.
I agree with you that because I think like the past generation have said to us, "I got mine, so now you need to get yours."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And instead of saying, "I got mine, this is how you get it too," you
Mm-hmm.
know, let me show you the route to take to go about and learn it, make the road a little easier for you than it was for me. But
Mm-hmm.
they rather for you to take them bumps and bruises that they had instead of trying to make it better for everyone. Let me see
Yeah.
what my brother over here said, because he coming with it.
Which is the greater thorn, the systematic issue or societal mindset?
It was coming from Detron.
Man, I don't know if it depends, right? So let's say, right, let's say I'm that guy that don't let nothing in the media bother me. I don't let shit get to me. I believe in the greatness of my people, but I can't do it by myself. You know what I'm saying? So now there's not enough people for me to multiply to create a system that I can overcome the system. So I think the system actually might be the biggest I think the system might be the biggest deterrent, you know? I think the system might be the biggest
So
deterrent.
the system itself has been broken for a very, very, very long time, and the
Well, broken
system,
for us.
yeah,
Broken for
yeah,
us. Yes.
yeah, I mean, the system was never created for us.
Mm-mm.
When you look at it, it was never created for us. We've proven that time and time again.
Mhm.
And they broke us, I think, in the system. And I think out of that system, this just my thought, sprung the societal elements and the mindset, from said system. So one of the things that I think I find interesting is that throughout our diaspora, I don't there's not enough. I think all the islands suffered from that whole you know um, that educational drain from the young minds. Everybody
Mhm.
left. They migrated, had opportunities to migrate to wherever, whether it's the States, Canada, UK, to do other things. And everybody, people are doing great. Um, I'm wondering, you know, how much of that mindset, those people without successful mindsets, so to speak, are going back to contribute in a wholesome way, like literally, as opposed to just sending. I know a lot of people are trying to develop things, but obviously there has to be roadblocks why it can't seem to really get off the ground.
Mhm. Yeah, and I
Well,
also got to go ahead,
I,
James.
I would say this, that there are a couple of, well, I know a couple of brothers that are trying and going back. They're successful here, and they fly back and do stuff in Haiti, and try to build up over there. So
And
it,
this,
it's
yeah, and
it,
this,
it's
yeah, and
not
this I
enough.
know.
It's not enough, but there are some that are trying to do it. We just got to get a better mindset of more people doing it.
Yeah, and I worked with an organization where we were building a school, and I was like, man, I'm not giving nobody no money if I don't see where the money going. So what I decided to do, I raised the money. I went with the organization down there, right? And I saw they had good intentions, but there was so many systematic obstacles. The school was two hours up the hill, up in the mountainside. There was no paved roads. So I'm like, how are we gonna get supplies up there? You know what I'm saying? There's no running water. How are we gonna mix the cement? You know what I'm saying? Like it was so many, and then there was hurricanes. When we built a temporary structure, a hurricane knocked down everything we had built, and we had to start all over again from scratch. It's so many obstacles. So at the grassroots level, you can only do so much. You do need the support of a strong system, which comes from people from the diaspora with the right mindset. You got a lot of brothers in the industry right now, NFL, scientists, doctors on Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? We've been in those industries for a generation now, making millions, billions, but their mindset is not on building that infrastructure. They're not doing that. But they would gladly build a beautiful home. They would gladly build a private airport. They would gladly fly in and drive their fancy car to their nice house and leave everything else to shit. I see it in Haiti. I'm sure Jamaica probably got that going on there. I'm sure all the islands got that mindset where they'll make money, they'll go home to enjoy the spoils, but they not building the infrastructure, and they the ones with the resources, you know. So that's the piece that's missing, you know. How do we get our best and brightest to have the heart of a grassroots champion? You know what I'm saying? It's hard to find that combination.
Okay. Okay.
We see, keeping the nation slave dependent. I guess that's what they want to do here in America too.
Mm-hmm.
Keep you slave dependent. Keep you in that mental frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, mental slavery. Yeah, keeping the nation slave dependent.
Yeah. Detron, could you I never really heard that phrase slave dependent. Could you like break that down for me? Or maybe Chef?
So we let D-Tron break that down.
I'm trying to learn, man. I'm trying to learn. I think I know what it means, but I don't want to assume, you know what I mean?
hmm
Mhm. We go.
Slave
Yeah,
Yeah.
dependent.
my little piece would just be mental, the mental slavery, the
Mm,
mental aspect, of mental slavery. So
depend on the government. Depending on the government for social or for survival. Like I got you. Thank you, brother. That's a simple breakdown. Yeah, man. That's another thing. Like I really believe in grassroots movements. And as I've gotten a little older and I've been seeing like the government here. I mean, obviously we live in a system that's governed by the government, and we go to school and we vote and all that stuff. Some of us do, some of us don't. But the older I get, the more I realize like grassroots and community based initiatives is the best way to go. But when you're working class folks and you have folks that have made it, that came out the working class, a lot of times they go more towards the corporate, um, not necessarily the government model. They go towards the corporate model, and then they don't give back. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. NGOs and other factors kill entrepreneurialism. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, NGOs do kill it. They do. That's another big part of what I saw in Africa too. My mom lives in Gonaive, which is the rice. So Haiti was broken up when the plantations was settled. Like the far north was like, let's just say sugarcane. I won't say the far north is sugarcane, but I'm just giving you an example. The north where my mom was from is mostly rice fields. Right, you walk a mile outside of town, it's rice as far as the eyes can see, far as the eyes can see. Then you go a little bit further south, and you might see mangoes. Then you go up in the mountains, you get coffee. Then you go down to like where the earthquake hit. It's a plant called vetiver. Vetiver is what they put they use to make cologne and champagne, cologne with and perfumes with. And then along the west coast is fishing. It's just like different parts of the island. But I remember sitting in my mom's on the porch, and I saw this Haitian lady. She was picking up bags of rice, and delivering them. I don't know where she was delivering them to. And I was sitting on the second floor, so I could read the top of the bag of rice. The bag of rice said USA. You know, this lady moved about a ton of rice in an hour. Each bag is 50 pounds. She moved about 20 bags by herself. Skinny lady. I don't know where she was going. I don't know who was paying or who she was working for. But I'm in rice country in Haiti, but USA rice is cheaper than Haitian rice in Haiti. You know, that's the kind of stuff that kills us. Not only just the NGOs, but also the supplements that the U.S. government have given their farmers here to dump them in places like Haiti and just cut the legs underneath the farmers. That's just one crop. So that kind of stuff is killing folks down there as well. It keeps the
yeah, I mean
economy.
the same. A large. Some of the same things happen. In Jamaica for the longest time. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, you know, the Jamaica is a large agricultural island. Grows a lot of crops, great crops,
Mm-hmm.
bananas, sugar cane, provisions, you name it, it's grown there. We have a lot of animal husbandry. pigs, cows, all kind of stuff. And when you have the government come in and, like you said, cut the feet out from under the farmers, the little people, dumping in, the stuff that they're importing, from the United States and elsewhere. Um, it that truly breaks, a part of the entrepreneurial and fair trade spirit, for sure. Um, you know, resources, devote, give resources for those people to actually succeed. I mean, when you take away that all of that stuff, now everybody seem like, you cannot sustain for yourself when there
Mm-hmm.
are resources there for us to sustain for ourselves. If you provide us with the resources, some more resources, you know, Haitian rights, definitely. But I think, and I know a lot of people are, um, rightfully so, upset with what happened with, the United States and previous government, and the the rice farms and rice production, in Haiti. And those things, I think, in terms of who is signing these deals, like I said earlier, some people look out for the people, some people kind of sort of look out for the people, and some people don't look out for the people at all.
Mm-hmm.
So some of those deals, I'm sure, lined a lot of pockets, but it
Mm-hmm.
didn't it didn't it didn't benefit the little man, the littlest of the little man.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the things that we need to curb. These are the things that we need to set straight. Not just in Haiti, in other Caribbean countries and other small countries too, as well.
Yeah.
Because we, it, it's starts, so to root out corruption. You have to start somewhere, wherever that is. But there has to be
Mm-hmm.
a start, because you can't keep going on thinking that every time, you bring somebody else in, they're going to be the one. You can't leave it all up to the leaders, um, to make those type of changes. And I think, you know just like everywhere else, if it's a democratic society, the people should
Give me that
have
tool.
more of the say so. And of course, as we see in Haiti all the time, and other countries too, when the people get pissed off and tired, pissed off and tired, or tired and pissed off, you know, things pop off. As
Mm-hmm.
Miss Barack said, Obama said, can't wait for, you're gonna pop off. But when people get pissed off and tired, yes, things will pop off. Because if you're not listening to the people, and you're not doing things to benefit the people, yes, people are going to
Mm-hmm.
uprise, and as well as they should.
Yeah, but I think one of the answers is, I mean, I think grassroots is like one of the things that the thing I appreciate about grassroots is like it is just working regular people, right? Putting their multiplying themselves to create a strong system that works. It's not about one guy or woman being at the top with their elitist ways or with their privilege telling everybody else what to do. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what ends up happening. So I think a grassroots movement is one of the vehicles. Um, we got to look at. I know, I think Haiti and a lot of Caribbean islands have tried to mimic what democracy is in America, but we know that democracy in America, we know that the person with the biggest donations is going to win the election. So that you could call that democracy.
21
Yeah.
billion.
So I think we got to also look at new ways of governing, new ways of government, and holding governments accountable, in order to like move
And they
things
said they
forward.
owed them 70 million.
Well, a lot of people, but what the consensus is, is that
77 million.
most people feel that even within our own countries, we are not we are not the people who are leading our own countries.
Mhm.
Everything always seems to stem back and come back and point to here. Everybody always feels that, this country is the driving force behind all the decisions and factors, for leadership and government in all the islands.
Yeah.
Something is always pointed here.
Yeah.
Some group or benefactor is always the driving force behind a lot of the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So in essence, I guess if you try to cut off the head off, how many heads you gonna have to cut off, off of that snake? It's a lot of
Yeah.
Well,
heads.
let's answer this question that Detron asked, and
Yeah, yeah, cause
Haiti has
we
paid.
know we got that queued up. Cause we were talking about that earlier, so
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
shit
Yeah.
is queued up.
They
Executive,
paid
executive director.
they paid 21 billion to France, and France when they said hold up, we ain't paying no more, they still owed 77 million. So that's the numbers, Detron.
21, and that's in today's money. That's in today's economy. 21 billion.
Yes, yes,
Can we do a research on what is Haiti's annual GDP?
yep. We'll call that to the fact checker. Fact checker,
Fact
can you check that fact for us?
annual GDP. So I know that like the average, I think the average Haitian a day like makes maybe $2 a day, something like that. $2 US.
Whew.
So for them to pay that much money back,
Probably.
that means the whole country was working to pay that back.
And that's
Hmm.
why they're in the state that they're in, because they was all their money was leaving the country to pay France,
Mm,
paying for their freedom when they was
mm.
already free. What's that?
14. That's
14 million?
no. That's
Oh,
the
$14
per-
a year?
And
no,
how
no,
much?
no. That's a GDP.
Yes. The average Haitian makes they're saying that they make $14.29 a year.
Well,
What
we
hold
want
on. What
what's the total for the country though? We
what's the
multiply
total
that
for the
times
country?
for the country.
Hold on.
Hmm. I agree. Um, I think so. Yeah. So I
Hmm?
think the question is, like, so how do we? So with the natural disasters, some people think these things are manufactured by man. Global warming and stuff like that, the hurricanes and the earthquakes. I'm not. I'm not ruling that out. But based on like what we're saying, like what Detron is saying, with the colonizing countries having a foothold, is there a way to reverse that or mitigate that? How do we slow that down? How do we slow
Hmm.
that down?
Hmm.
How do we keep the France out of? It's like when I was growing up, I remember I used to go to the store, and I was just happy to go to the store until I got robbed because I had my money in my pockets, right? I had all my money in one pocket. And when them boys ran my pockets, they got to the money easy. I had to learn how to put some of my money in my sock, some of it in my soul. So even though they ran my pockets, I
Hmm.
gave a little something, but I had more. You know what I'm saying? I went home with something in my pocket. Because
Hmm.
so how do we as a diaspora, how do we as a people, we know they're coming. We can't say we ain't got no money, but like how do we survive this? They're basically in our pockets. They basically robbing us. How do we mitigate that, survive that?
Now that's the game plan that we have to come up with. Cause that's the hardest part. Cause they the biggest baddest bully on the block.
So I'm saying,
They gonna run the pockets and pick you up and shake you.
if they got time, you know,
Yeah,
I'm just putting my money in my soul, hoping they ain't got time.
yeah.
You know,
That's the biggest problem that we face. Cause as we know, they want to know. They already looking at what's coming out the country,
hmm
and it's not that much. And then what they sending into the country, they expect all their money for it.
Mm-hmm.
Horror and ritual successors.
You see how
Okay, yeah.
Irie is teasing us too, right? Right,
Yeah,
Cole?
we fasting, man. I can't,
Uh,
no sticks this month. No sticks this month.
oops, I'm sorry. But hold
Savage, man.
strong, my brother. Hold strong. Yes. The essence of the fast is to hold strong.
I
Because when
recommitted.
I
I backslid, James. I backslid bad, man. So I had recommitted tonight.
Well, how you backslid?
Man, I done ate all kind of stuff I wasn't supposed to eat during the day, man. I ate a croissant and bacon sandwich the other day, man. I said, "What I'm doing, man?" At noon,
Hey,
just broke.
I find myself going to the refrigerator looking at it and then saying I can't eat nothing. And walking away. Like I can't do this. I got a whole strong. What time is it? 2 o'clock.
42.2 million.
No, but
Yes.
like how do his nation of people
Wow.
change the government and pay off his debt? Yeah, yeah, man. Sacrificial lambs, Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey. Hey, man, I want to live a long life, man. Am I guilty for wanting to live to be 89?
And and that's what I'm. That I have said that for a while. That until you willing to lay down your life for the cause, it's gonna be a hard fight.
Yeah, I want to live, man. I
And
want to be an old man, man. You know what I'm saying? I want to get a bad back. You know.
No, we wishing for no bad backs, son, because, I'm just saying.
he's
you know,
saying further down the line,
Yeah,
down
I
yeah,
know that, but damn it,
way.
shoot. Even at 80, I want to be out there busting a wine. Shit.
yeah. You better get a substitute. You better get a substitute lover.
He gonna have a substitute whiner.
You gotta get a substitute, man. A clone. You gotta get a stunt double like LeBron James. Get a stunt double.
hmm Who
Yeah, but
who wants to be a
I,
Marcus Garvey or MLK? I don't think a lot of people want. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I think there are, people in different places are trying to level up, trying to, organizations that you belong to, which one, you're part of now, and several others. Often, but I think oftentimes, the voices gets either lost in the shuffle or hidden or just erased. And so it's a further uphill climb to get the message out, it seems, and to have, yeah, I think more people joining in, because the attitude, I think, for most people, or the mindset, when you live in a place of that, you know a place of plenty, a place of easy access, everything is easily accessible, everything is readily disposable and can be replaced, you know just like that. Most people don't really care, you know about, what those voices are saying. They might listen to those voices for a short period of time, because, as you know, most people here, especially in this country, attention span is a nanosecond. you know so unless, the whole attitude of consistency, is being developed, where you consistently, voice, make those voices heard and be loud. But, and I think we've mentioned, every time you get loud, and you get loud enough for people to hear, and the message really starts to come through, there comes somebody, with rubber bullets and whatever it is, and policies and shit. No, y'all need to be quiet. Shut up. Let me find a way to silence your leaders. Um,
Tell you you can't protest on bridges, and then you see other people protest on bridges. That what you
yeah,
talking about, Ari? Stuff like that.
stuff like that, stuff like, yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
that's
stuff like that.
yeah. Mhm.
So, yes, the voices sometimes get loud, and the powers that be said, well, y'all are too loud. We're gonna have to put you in your place once again, you know. And but I don't know, still gotta push on, no?
Yeah, I really think another thing too. I work in education, and we as a diaspora have to really we have to have a better, a stronger sense of the kind of education our kids are getting. We got to be more invested. Got to be more invested in our kids' education. I proctored the state exam for middle school math, and I'm walking around and reading and writing, and I'm looking at the questions that they're asking these kids. Meanwhile, I'm watching them knock down the pork and beans. I'm watching them knock down the flat tops in Brownsville. I'm watching them gentrify Little Haiti. I'm like, what the fuck does Romeo and Juliet have to do with anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, our kids need to be learning how to save their communities. Our kids need to be learning how to save money. Our kids need to be learning how to make money. Our kids need to be learning how to organize. That's not happening in our schools. They got us chasing this. They got us chasing this tail, man. And so we also got to be very, as parents, we have to take control of our kids' education. I'm not saying don't send your child to public school. What I'm saying is public school cannot educate your child alone. You got to teach them some real shit. And that's another piece that we're missing, because don't get it twisted. Them white kids, 12, 13, they already know what a credit score is. They you know what I'm saying? They know what inheritance means. They know what this stuff means. Our kids, they get the bag, they go to NFL, make all this money, or even some of them get all the way to Wall Street, do it the right way. And the first thing they do is buy something they can't afford. The first thing, because that's what they've been taught to do with their money. And we got to really, really, as parents and as communities, supplement our kids the way they're taught. Like James said earlier, some of the older generation, not all of them, they're like, well, I had to struggle, so you got to struggle. What we got to do is, like, when we learn how to get our credit score right, instead of making our kids go through that, pay off as much of the house we can and tell them why we're doing it. You know what I'm saying? If you say, no, I'm not getting a new car. This is why we're not getting a new car. This is
Or,
why.
or I will add to that on time. Not
Mm-hmm.
to mean to cut you off,
No,
but
go ahead.
once you got your credit right,
Mm-hmm.
put your kids on your credit to help build their credit before they even get up there.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to putting your name in your kid's name so that you could benefit and then frig up your kids credit.
That shit,
Your shit already messed up.
Fidelity.
Let me just grab Judy
Integrity.
over here.
Integrity. No,
Yeah,
but that's true, man. Like,
by the time you're 18, you're talking about I need a credit. No, you can't get a credit card, Junior. Your credit in the tank, long time from you was 2.
oh yeah, you foreclosed when you was 11. You ain't gonna be able to buy a house till you 18.
Yeah, right?
That's 7 years.
But which is a sad state of affairs, and I think that's something that plagues our culture, right now, and we laugh and stuff like that, but you know, to change the mindset, and I know that there are things that are happening within our societies right now and Black culture that is trying to change the mindset for the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the big thing is, still bags and coins and grips and stacks and all that good stuff. Making money is a great thing. What is it that you do with your money though? What exactly are you doing with the stacks, and so we still find people being successful, but it's still a individual thing. We're still individualized, that mindset is still, I must make my bags and stacks and coins so I can do the things that I want to do. And so as we're moving, slowly but surely, you're seeing, education in the sense where we're trying to have people, younger people, um, form foundations, form, the nucleus of how to rebuild, as you started off, Ashley, our communities, which is a current theme on our show ever since we started last year, how to utilize those resources to build and build upon the communities at large, because it all starts there. And when I say, in the islands, the drain of young intellect and young minds, I think all those Caribbean countries suffered from it. The young minds left at a certain time. You know, and so hopefully, some of those more of those young minds that have learned how to do things differently, because as generations and generations, rise up and come through and move forward, every generation has newer and better ideas, you know as we learn, as we evolve, and we progress. But I think sometimes a lot of those young minds stumble on a lot of stumbling blocks, because the older the gendarme, whoever that may be, still want the status quo to still remain in place. You know, it worked for us, so it should work for you too. So, don't upset yourself, Sonny. Don't upset yourself, young lady. And and so the whole idea of not listening to the younger generation, way back when we were talking about um protesting and stuff like that, we've often said, great, but the younger and the older generation still needs to come together. We've often said here on the show that maybe the older generation dropped the baton, too many times. We so set in our ways, that we are not communicating in a way that allows for, total or true unity amongst generations. you know so that is something that needs to shore up, more as we progress, as we're learning more about, we're getting more educated about finances, financial literacy, if you would, not just through real estate, but all of it, banking, stock market, all of that stuff. And if 11-year-old right now can have an idea and is being supported by not even so much educated parents, but parents who are willing to see that idea grow and seed into it. Like, you know what? I believe in you, son. I believe in you, daughter. This is what we are going to do to facilitate helping you to grow, because we see what's in you, and it's more than just a potential. So we're going to teach you as a young person how to navigate, how to build. And I think most of the younger people were not taught that. So most of them don't know how to teach their kids now. So it's always like a free for all.
Mhm.
Their idea of success is to go out and spend their money. If you have money, you should be able to go out and buy Prada, buy this, buy that, and not invest, not learn how to invest, not learn how to do a lot of a lot of things that will take you, not necessarily out of the community, but help you to elevate the community. Because can you imagine if everybody in the community or communities was doing the things that successful people do inside the community? A lot of our communities wouldn't be so, as they would say, impoverished per se.
Mhm. I agree. I
That's
agree. And
true.
then shifting the conversation back to what's going on in Haiti and things of that nature.
Hmm.
The same thing needs to happen, right? Like those who are successful, um, and it doesn't have the success don't necessarily have to be financial success. Success could be skills. Success could be relationships. Success could be influence. Finding out how every juncture we can use that to to uplift our people. You know what I'm saying? And it has to be intentional. If not, then it's like I can't be. I'm Haitian American. I'm proud. Do I every day send money? I don't send money to Haiti every day. That's not necessarily the thing to do, right? Um, some of us benefit from saying we're Haitian in certain spaces, but then if you follow us the rest of our lives, what are we really doing for Haiti? What are we really doing for the diaspora as a whole? Are we just wearing that as a sign to say I'm part of this society? But am I really doing the work? Am I really intentional? Um, right now is not a time to visit, but when it was a time to visit, were you there? Were you building relationships? Were you connecting? And that's the stuff we got to kind of get back to, man. We have to get back to that. Right now, the timing is rough because of the destabilization of it, but I hope that there will be a peacetime, a time where the diaspora can come together and the elders can pass on the baton. Because I know this being in the Haitian American diaspora, um, our elders are dying and not leaving us a lot. You know what I'm saying? They dying and we have to pick up the pieces. And I think every time a generation got to pick up the pieces, especially when tragedy happened, we got to try to figure it out on our own. And that's just, I'm not saying it's a wasted generation, but if a kid is 20 years old, 15 years old behind me, and I can't leave that kid nothing, well, it ain't just about money. If I can't leave them no knowledge, no wisdom, then what was I doing it for all this time? You know? So, we just have to put that mindset into the diaspora. We have to put that mindset into all those places that we have our gifts and give it back. And if we do it collectively, I think we could shift something. We can create something that's not currently present. Are we gonna go against the biggest, baddest bully on the planet and whoop his ass? I don't know if that's the smartest thing to do. Would it be honorable? Maybe, right? But I think there's still moves that we haven't even begun to do yet. That is just a matter of opening up our ideas, opening up our mind, being humble, and working with the generation, like multi-generation, to really put things in place. So that's all I got for y'all, fellas. That's all I got for y'all.
I I totally agree with that. And with that being said, I think that's we said enough for tonight. Oh, you
Well,
beat me to
yeah.
it.
So make sure we are telling people. Some of the I heard in the
Yeah.
discussion earlier before we went online
Yeah.
where we can now contribute. Thing organizations that are in our communities where we can you know
Yeah.
go to and see how we can provide our help. As we would say, give our little piece, do our little piece. I think most
Mhm.
as I'm sitting here, hopefully when I get those links, probably do a live tomorrow. So that send me those links to my
Yeah.
just send
Email.
them to my email
Mhm.
later so I can have them up.
Also, I'm not sure how to get this to you, James. Can I send this over to you? The Smile Trust.
Yeah. I got it right here. The website.
Yeah, the Smile Trust Recovery Fund.
Mm-hmm.
That and Saturday they're having an IT relief packing party. It's basically just bringing supplies and packing. They're trying to fill up 6 containers this
And they
weekend.
and then we
Mm.
need volunteers to
Yeah,
come
you got that
down and
flyer, James? You got that flyer?
uh, I believe I have it. Let me pull it up. I
Mm.
have last week's flyer, the
I
one they
got the
sent
one
out
for
on.
this Saturday. I have the one for this Saturday.
You send it to me in my email if you can, right quick. I'll post it on the
Okay.
on the page
What's your email address?
on the 3883 MG.
3883 MG
Yep,
at
at Gmail. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Well, I sent you the how I sent you the link.
Okay, yeah, I'm just getting it off my phone right now.
Okay, okay.
So as you
IT.
guys are sending links and all that good stuff, cool. I'm sure maybe in the last 5 minutes before we wrap up, just to touch bases real quickly. as to your part of the educational system, Mr. Ashley,
Hmm.
and for those of us, myself, I don't have kids, so I don't, I'm not actively a part of the educational system like that. So my information is coming through media, through people who I know who are teachers and stuff like that. But the consensus is there's a lot wrong that is in place, and Broad Broad County hasn't even started school yet. They start what, next week,
Yeah, the
No, they
23rd,
start.
I believe.
or they
No,
started this
Broward.
week? Broward.
They start tomorrow, the
They
It starts
18th.
tomorrow. Okay.
They
tomorrow,
start. Yeah.
and you see what's happening in Palm Beach, and but not so it's not even this is not even just localized to South Florida. You know, this is happening across the country now. You know, but it's just so unfortunate that the kids who the way I look at it, the kids who we are supposed to protect, we are not. The leadership is not protecting the kids, regardless of how you feel. But they should be protecting the kids. And I don't. It's sad to see that that's not the main focus
That's
when it comes to this the educational system and the school system.
yeah. I'm willing to definitely come back and talk more about that. Tomorrow's my first. Today we had orientation with about 33 kids, and we're gonna be rolling out little by little. And our administration is really it's tricky because I'm in leadership, but I'm not at the regional level. So there's always somebody higher than you,
Right.
and we can do what we can do on the ground level to protect our families. It might go against what the region says,
Hmm.
but if I'm the Lone Ranger, which I'm gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I'll catch hell for it. But if everybody don't want to catch hell for it, you know what I'm saying? Then it's like nobody disagreeing with what I'm saying or what I'm doing, but they ain't gonna necessarily do it with me. You know what I'm saying? And all it takes is someone at the region to be like, F the governor. No. You know what I'm saying? But the closer I know is the closer you get to the top, the less liberty you have, to be honest. You know, you less liberty. Because once you make a move, you kind of cement it there. Versus me, when I'm on the ground level, I can grab a group of kids and say, "Hey, we doing this." I can grab some teachers and say, "We doing this." And when they show up, we flipping the game on them. But for now, we gotta survive. When you're at the regional level, at the political level, they gotta, you know what I'm saying? They don't, they are afraid to make the right choices, and that's sad because that's our families on the line, and I know that. And that's one of the reasons why I stay in education because I want to be the person that get up in there and say, I know what they saying in Tallahassee, but they are never coming in this building. We're gonna do what we gotta do in Dade County. And if Tallahassee just so happened to show up, it is what it is. But I know what my kids and families are going through. They telling me, they telling us, and that's the play we gotta run, you know. But that's a whole nother conversation, guys. I'm willing to come back to talk more about that. But that's real. Education is a big piece.
Okay.
Indeed, indeed, indeed.
Well, we gonna wrap it the way we usually wrap it, Irie. So let the people know what you got going on, and I bet you I ain't even finna say that. Let the people know what you got going on, and get your prop ready.
Oh shit.
Your
Okay, now you gotta go back to Mr. Ashley. I gotta get up. I have to get my damn prop ready. And by the time Mr. Ashley's concluded
Okay,
his,
this is what we'll do.
I'll be
Go
I'll
ahead.
be ready for you.
All right, go get your prop, and we'll talk about people we need. We're gonna make a call to action right now. Saturday, we need y'all to come out and help pack these containers for Smile Trust, so we can get this stuff to Haiti that needs to get over there to the people. Um, in the flying, let me pull it up right quick. Let me see. There we go. Okay. Then are they still looking for medical supplies? Do you know, Ash?
I'm not sure, but I would say if they have some, bring it anyway. You can never have too much, to be honest, at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely not.
Bring it.
But I definitely would get with them tomorrow and see what all if they need anything, and I will also post that for the people out there. So if along with packing supplies, if you have stuff to give that will help, we need that too.
Mm-hmm.
Where to the mother. So yeah, I'll definitely so along with whatever I glean from my emails from you guys, I'll definitely reach out to some other of my friends and do a quick live on my IG or Facebook or something so we can disseminate some more of that information because I know everybody's well I can't say everybody people with conscious minds are definitely trying to make it happen because this is not going to be the last event either there or elsewhere in the world. So and as long as we're able to come together, so yeah, and do it.
Okay. So Ari, tell the people what
Yeah.
you got going on.
But real quick, big up, large up to my Haitian people, sac passe, yes.
Nabule,
And
nabule.
for those of you who are listen to the Ricky Smiley Morning Show, next week Friday I'll be on. I was just on last Friday, talking my stuff. And when you go on Amazon, see, look at that. It comes backward. I love this camera. Make sure you get the cookbook, Chef Irie. And for all the Haitian people who are watching, my co-editor or author on this book is Chef Tia. And Chef Tia is from Haiti.
All
So
right.
she was on season 2 of the show with the name Taste the Islands, which was featured on American Public Television. So she's also a co-author of the book, All You Haitian People. So go out and get the book on Amazon, and we can always arrange to have it signed for y'all. So Ricky Smiley next week Friday, Tasty Islands, Culinary Adventure in a Caribbean Kitchen on Amazon. Yes, thank you very much.
Taste the eye. All right. All right,
All right.
chef. Are you located somewhere, a restaurant? You got your own spot? I'm not familiar with your work just yet.
So I'm a freelance. I am a private chef caterer. So
Mm-hmm.
I do private events, catering, and I also take care of private clients. When those come up as well. So if you got planning an event for the family, for corporate, we will try to take care of you. A lot of people are coming down, staying in Airbnbs now. Um, you know, so they're able to be a little more flexible. You know, 7, 10, 15 people. Those are really cool. So hit me up. And I do travel as well. Have knives? Will travel. Yes, thank you very much.
I think I might have met you. Did you? Were you were there for the Caribbean Day at the City Hall
That just went
back in May? Was
recently.
that May or yeah?
No, I wasn't there, but you may know a good friend of mine, Marie Lusant.
Yeah, I know Maria.
Yeah, so I think Marie helped to coordinate that, and the
Yes.
one and for Miami City the anniversary for Miami the one what is it 125th
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah, so Marie helped to coordinate that as well. So, but yeah, I've my friends in the Haitian diaspora and community here oftentimes keep me, you know, I do participate sometimes in some of the events. So people do call me sometimes because I feel like no, not I feel like I've been told I am an honorary Asian.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You're
yes,
honorary. You're honorary.
Uh-huh.
You're
And
honorary.
and if you don't believe it, you can follow Chef Irie on his social media, which is
I am Chef Irie on IG, Chef Irie on Facebook, Chef Irie on Twitter.
and you can see all the delectable delights that he produces out of various kitchens for his clients. I'm still waiting on my bread pudding, but we're gonna work that
We gonna work it out, though. We gonna work it out, play. We gonna work it out.
out.
Yeah.
All right, this has been another episode of the Bridge Podcast. Peace.
Good night, y'all.